Today, John Bunyan is famous around the world for his book, Pilgrim's Progress, which is the second most popular book of all time. But in his youth, he was infamous for being a troublemaker and living in rebellion against God. Here is part 2 of his remarkable true story. John Bunyan was born in Elstow, near Bedford, in 1628, to parents who were of the poorest class in the land. His father was a tinker, which is someone who travelled from place to place repairing metal household tools. Poverty was very common in England in the 1600s, but even by the standards of that time, the Bunyans didn't have much. In our day, we'd say they were barely scraping by. Life was rough in the 1600s. There was no electricity. There was no running water. Nobody had a tablet or a cell phone. It's fair to say John Bunyan grew up in the streets, and he was often in trouble. By his own confession in his book, Grace Abounding to the Chief of Sinners, Bunyan says that in his youth, before he met God, that he spent his time cursing, swearing, lying, and blaspheming, and that until he got married, he was the very ringleader of all the youth that kept his wicked company. Put it this way, John Bunyan was the kind of young man your mother told you not to hang out with. He also wanted nothing to do with religion. He figured Christianity was a prison. He told God, "Stay away from me. I don't want to know you or your ways." But, looking back on his younger days, Bunyan could see how God protected him and showed him mercy. Twice, Bunyan nearly drowned as a young man. Once he fell into a creek near the ocean and barely survived. The second time he fell out of a boat into the Bedford River. Another time, Bunyan and his friend were walking in a field and found a venomous snake called an adder. Bunyan caught it and pried its mouth open so he could look at its fangs. He later said, "God preserved me in my youthful ignorance. That could have cost me my life." As a teenager, Bunyan joined Cromwell's New Model Army, but continued his rebellious ways. God spared his life on another occasion when a fellow soldier took his place at the siege of Leicester and was shot in the head with a musket bullet and died. But God has a way of working to save even wild young men. Bunyan married a kind Christian woman who would read to him, and little by little he began to take an interest in religious things. But at first he thought Christianity meant doing these certain rituals and not doing these other things, and soon he became quite proud and puffed up with his pretended righteousness. It was not until he happened to listen to the conversation of 4 women talking in the street one day about a new heart and a new birth that Bunyan first began to see his hopeless state, and that doing rituals and pretending to be a good person had not changed his heart one bit.